In the beginning, the stories, they all belong to the sky god, but the people who lived them, they lamented. For the people of all the worlds, they hungered for their own stories, and I hungered. So I planned, and I was clever, much more clever than the sky god, and all who hung on the words. I hung them on the tricky threads of my mischief. Now they say all stories are Anansi's stories. That suits me. Yes, all stories are Anansi's. But on occasion, I share them with the people. Today, I share them with you in Anansi's Tapestry of Lives. Anansi's Tapestry of Lives is a new tabletop role-playing game supplement filled with varied and various non-player characters to populate your game world. Created by Game Masters for Game Masters, Anansi's Tapestry of Lives is overflowing with NPC descriptions, details, and illustration. The NPC voiceover app gives you access to professionally voiced acted introductory monologues for each and every NPC, along with all the NPC details on your phone or tablet. Virtual tabletop tokens for every NPC makes it easy to bring these beloved characters into play on Roll20, The Forge, or your other favorite VTT. For in-person play, Anansi's NPC cards are tarot-sized reference decks. Each card has the NPC image on one side and important details on the other. Anansi's Journal of Commonplaces provides you with richly detailed descriptions that typical adventure books don't cover. When your players stumble into the castle kitchen or are foraging in a wild berry patch on the road, you can describe the scene perfectly. Plus, you're prepared with hidden details should they search the area. All these tools make your life easier while enriching your gameplay experience. And you get access to these and more by backing our Kickstarter campaign. Back us today to bring these tools to your table and bring your stories to life.
The auroral diamond glows with a grayish light. It's the color of stone or iron or haze or a mystery. Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Urban. I'm your DM for Radiant Stories, this wonderful game in where we're playing through some of the adventures in journeys through the Radiant Citadel. And as always, I'm super happy about my fellow players who are here today. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself right now?
I think I will. I'm Alicia Marie, and I'm a creative performing artist and costume creator, and you can find me on socials at Alicia Marie Body. And I am back tonight playing Ravana Cricket Wise. She is a Wild Hunt Shifter Grave Domain Philosophy Cleric.
Wow. Hard to follow. Hi, everyone. I'm Erin. I'm excited to be here for the first time. Erin Roberts. I'm a writer. One of the things I wrote is Written in Blood, which this lovely group played through not too long ago. And I am playing Kiana, one of the characters from God's Breath, who has been slightly changed by her experience. Just doing, I'm not even going to try to describe that experience, but her hands-on experience in God's Breath. And that's about it.
That was amazing. Hi, I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as @DreamWisp. You can find me streaming on Twitch as DreamWispJen. I am playing your friendly neighborhood spring Eladrin College of Creation cottagecore bard, Wisteria.
I'm gonna remember how to unmute myself. Sorry. Hi, I'm Kelly, your newly bionic opera geek, and I am playing everyone's favorite snack-obsessed barbarian with the giant sword that makes no sense, Ustina.
Makes perfect sense to me, but I'm
Mhm.
Lauren Urban, your humble DM. I wanted to take a second to thank the lovely people who are basically responsible for the reason that we are here. First off, Anansi's Tapestry of Lives, which had that awesome video just before we went live. Definitely go check out their Kickstarter, which is starting soon. And Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Make sure you grab that Electrum chest in chat. And hi everybody, how's it going? From my friends at Idle Champions. But with all of that out of the way, we're going to do something slightly different than normal. See, usually I help guide my players through a recap of what's been going on in Radiant Stories, but for a bunch of different reasons, the characters are going to do it. So I'm just going to set the scene. It is the morning. For some of you, it's the morning after helping a bunch of musicians recover after a performance has gone very wrong. For some of you, it's the morning after returning from God's Breath, helping out some people there after something had gone very wrong. And you are all meeting up at basically the port where some of you are getting ready to go to Sansatlan. So you can help figure out about something that's going very wrong. And so you're at this port where one of the large diamonds, one of the jewels that's going to take you to Sansatlan is standing. And Wisteria, you see some of your friends approaching. Ustina, who had gone off after the events of last night to help continue to bring people to the House of Convalescence who had been injured. You see Cricket, who has just returned from God's Breath, from helping out some of the people there. And you see someone else familiar from God's Breath, who it might be a surprise that they're here. Maybe not. Kiana, would you take a moment and describe yourself, please?
I'm Kiana. I'm farmer from God's Breath. I look like I do. I got a nice head wrap I had my whole life, and I'm really kind of, it's weird being in this sort of bigger place. I've never been to the Citadel before, but after I got in that trouble back in God's Breath, I thought I'd come and sit under the pecan tree we've got here, the crystal one, and just see, what it spoke to me to do. And I thought I would say thank you to some of the folks who helped me out. Plus, it's hard to go back to the farm. I mean, I look like I'm dressed for farming. I got my shirt and everything, but it's hard to go back after you did some things that you may not want to think about. So I'm looking for some new horizons. And anyway, thank y'all.
Farming clothes are excellent. I'm a big fan.
They're this is cotton.
And comfortable.
Yeah, linen, I think. And I was never really much of a sewer, more of a stickler, though I guess I really shouldn't say that now. But yeah, just regular clothes for work. What you got?
And it's interesting, when you had gone to see the tree and sat under those gorgeous the leaves that are actually made of crystals, and it sparkled. It spoke to you, but the tree doesn't speak in words. It speaks in feelings and emotions, and almost in visions. And after sitting there for a while, it almost seemed to help you decide on what to do next. And something about that thought that you had, I can't go back and do what I was doing before, but I feel like I should help and do something else. And it directed you back to these people that you recognize, the people that had helped you out just a couple of days ago. And so the rest of you, as you are gathering, Kiana comes walking on up and has this discussion with Wisteria. And what would you like to do?
Well, so Cricket she's walking toward the group. She sees Wisteria. She nods. She's dragging her shovel behind her as usual. It's making a lot of noise. It's really unnecessary. But there's something about the noise that's comforting to her. Who knows why? Who knows why anyone does anything? But she sort of walks up to Wisteria. She's wearing this, like, on her, you can tell she's just really tired. And she looks up and she looks at Kiana and sort of squints. Do I know you? You look familiar.
We met before. I look I look the same, but it was dark and I was with a thing and there were a lot of hands and things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't really like to talk about it, but I appreciate all your help.
I'm happy to see that you made it out very safe.
Better than some.
It was a lot. Wisteria, I ended up staying in God's breath too. My gods actually told me that I should stay and help out the farmers and some of the people that were affected. What I did was I laid my hands on the ground and I prayed that the ground could heal itself and that they would be able to grow and have crops again and flourish. I was also given something that I thought I'd never see again. And she pulls from behind her back and shows Wisteria this little, I guess a tissue or something, but there's some seeds in there. And maybe Wisteria recognizes them, but they're seeds that she can use for enfeeblement and bane type spells, because she doesn't necessarily like to focus on spells that are like that, because her mother always told her what you put out in the world comes back to you. But she realizes that they might be, she says this, we may be facing forces that I am not used to facing. So I thought I should have or be able to create something that I can use. And she puts them back in her pocket. Is Ustina there too? Yet? Oh, and she turns to Ustina and she lunges at her and gives her this crazy hug.
Ustina, I like to imagine, because she wasn't here last week, is a bit scraped up from helping people. So she's, got the little sooty look and cuts and all that kind of jazz. And she accepts this.
You didn't want to go home and shower?
You had time to shower?
What's a shower?
It's been 12 hours.
Is that when it rains? Is that when it rains on you?
It's when you bathe.
Oh, that's a bath. The words
that
must
you
be
do with the
different
spray
here. I don't know.
Well, we have baths too. You can do that too, but you just have a little bit of there and sort of everywhere.
It'll come off eventually.
Fair enough.
Somehow.
Mm. Cricket.
Hopefully.
Cricket.
Yes. I'm exhausted. You don't have to forgive me if I'm
Did you not sleep either? What were you doing with your evenings?
Ustina is kind of looking to each side like she's telling this giant secret.
What? What are you doing?
I found the best bread.
You found bread?
Bread.
Why did you find this bread and what kind is it?
It's cinnamon bread. It's so
From where?
Good. From the place we went with the lady where the guy tried to scam her and sell her something that wasn't good, but then I got cut short and we came back here and there was an explosion, but I think we're going back there. For bread.
We're going back there. Well,
Sans Lawn?
Yes.
Well,
I will
if the
get
bread
you some
is
bread.
good, it's worth it.
Yep. And she just kind of turns around and starts walking towards where the transport is.
I guess we're going to go. Where are we going? Wait. I wanted to meet up with you, but you didn't inform me as to where we're going next.
I don't really know. We met a very strange man.
Okay. That's everyone here.
Fair point. No, we met a gentleman whose name was Mark.
Mark the Beast.
Mark the Beast? You met Mark the Beast.
Mark of the Beast, apparently. The Beast.
Sorry, I leave out prepositions.
I don't know if of the is a part of the middle name or the last name.
I personally
be
think he
either.
was lying about 90% of what he said.
He is an actor.
Wait a minute. Isn't he usually? I mean, he's stories. I mean, he's famous, right? I've heard his name so many times. He's done so many great things. You said he's lying about all of these things.
He likes to think he's famous, so
He called
Sure.
me a peasant.
Nothing wrong with that.
Is he in House of
Truth.
Convalescence now?
no, he
Colin?
actually went off and started touring.
Oh
He
no,
got
there's nothing wrong with peasants. It's just that I am not one, and he acted like he was better than us. I didn't like
We
him.
will find him after we are done finding
He
this.
had a healthy sense of self.
Mm.
Interesting.
But-
Mhm.
We were talking to the People's Players, which is where he is now. He's now touring with them as a bouncer / promoter / understudy. He decided to take on multiple roles, but you know those strings we found at Paracha Strings.
I heard of the strings.
So they were making strings out of tungsten because they would survive interplanar travel. But there was this one very small piece that seems to be related possibly to the explosion. And we tried to play it on the world's tiniest violin. And it's a very specific tone. And as that tone played, we saw the diamond darken. So yeah, the same way we did back a few
Way back when?
yeah well
Like 5
what,
days
2
ago.
Way
Yeah.
back when?
Who's
But-
counting?
You said they were making strings out of people?
no out of no not the proclaimer,
No.
the metal.
Oh,
Not
okay,
the
I was-
proclaimer.
The
He's all
proclaimer's
right.
fantastic.
They're all
Yeah,
right. They're all right.
they're fantastic.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
That
No,
would be
no,
a
no,
little
this is-
weird.
It was a strange coincidence though that they had the same name, the metal and the person. but-
Oh.
No,
Have to
there's
tell
a
Proclaimer about that.
material, and the only place that really has it is in San Juan. And when they played this E7, which is a very high pitched note,
Mhm.
the diamond shifted and the storm started to come closer, and the keen and gloom seemed to growl at us and come closer. So it's something we really don't want.
Well, when you Wisteria, when you say the storm came closer, you don't mean the gloom, do you?
Yeah,
Okay. This is not very good news. All right.
we don't know.
I actually didn't experience any of that. I was
were
heroically
you?
rescuing civilians.
Well, it seems like we've been doing many different things. As a group, we've been jumping around and now we're finally back together. But we are missing the little meatball. Where is he?
I don't
little
want to
one.
talk about him. He
Who-
plays the recorder and
He went
plays it
off
all the
with the
time.
People's Players. He's now a roadie for them.
Really?
Did he take all the recorders?
Only his own.
Oh,
There are more recorders? They're just asking for the reasons.
Did somebody
There's-
with a recorder hurt you?
there was too many hot cross buns.
So
being
much hot
played.
cross buns.
Very many hot cross buns.
And the
Um,
round was just slightly out of time.
Just a little bit because he didn't actually know how to play.
Oh,
But it's
that's okay.
we humored him because he likes to set things on fire and he's not quite sure how he does it, so we'd rather not find out.
So
I do
so
miss him, but
the
Kiana-
plan.
Kiana, it's interesting when you had been given the feeling of finding these folks who had helped you in order to help them. You might have had some preconceived notions about what that would be about. Are those preconceived notions correct? Or now that you've interacted with them a little bit, are you thinking these people are different than what you expected?
I didn't expect so much bread. There seems to be a lot of bread. But you know what? You know, they helped me, and I'm just going to go with it. And you know, maybe I'll get my own bread, or I can help their bread, or I don't really understand it, but I'm just gonna, I'm gonna keep my head down and we're gonna help people, I guess, at some point, or maybe give them bread. I don't know.
We hope
Well,
so.
if we hurry back to Sunset Land, do you think that festival's still happening, Wisteria?
It's possible. They were still just setting up, so maybe. But also, I think it's worth talking to Marissa to find out who the other buyer was for the tungsten.
And maybe apologizing for Mark.
Who is Marissa?
The owner of Paracha Strings.
Okay.
Kiana, how are you feeling? You went through a lot and you were...
Oh yes, hi. I don't think we've
last
met. I
time we
wasn't there. I wasn't there in God's breath, was I?
Oh,
I
no,
went
you
back.
Not
left
for most of it.
before the farmstead.
It was all
Hi.
a blur. Hi, you don't like recorders.
I don't. I like bread.
buns, and you like bread.
Yes.
I like bread too, so
We will be
that's
friends.
good.
I
could
I'm
use some.
Ustina. I'm Ustina, and I am perfectly happy that you are no longer in your haunted village. Pond lake? Village pond lake. Yes.
House, but sure. There was a lot of haunting. I don't really like to talk about it too much. Because I get dreams and stuff. Anyway.
Well, I can only imagine how difficult it was for you to imagine all of that. I mean, when we saw some of the art that you did, it was very disturbing. So if that is what you were experiencing, you can only imagine how terrible it was for you.
I'm still painting, I'm working on some stuff. I'll put bread in it this time. And maybe less hands and stuff. Or maybe hands
Yes.
kneading bread. I don't know. I get confused.
That's a good use, as long as they're attached to people.
Yeah.
I feel like I've missed something, and I'm not sure I want to know.
No,
You don't want to know.
I mean, we're happy to tell you, but also you might be happier not knowing.
Most
It was
likely.
pretty upsetting.
Too many hands.
So many fingers. So
That
many
was
fingers.
disgusting. It was disgusting. But now I want to know why specifically we're going to Sunset Land.
To go back to Paracha Strings and find out who they sold the tungsten strings to.
Maybe they had something to do with the,
In the end. All right. Well, shall we get on this thing and go now? Do we need to speak to anyone? Lady Dre?
Did we send word to Malik?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Malik is aware of that was one of the last things that BB did before they went off to go be a roadie with Mark, was kind of give the full report to Malik and to let everybody know basically the whole series of events. We were looking for this creature. This creature seems to be somehow tied to the diamond and the keening gloom. We're following those threads. Seems like it's turning into actual strings. These strings are made of tungsten. I'm going to go off and go be a roadie, but everybody else is going back to Sunset Lawn to go look for these strings because explosions.
It's also worth noting, Cricket, because you weren't here, that I found out information that was actually useful for a change, which is that there's a song, the legend with the song and the diamond.
Oh, the Song of the Diamond?
Is how the people of the Radiant Citadel protected everybody else. They're surrounded by the keening gloom because of this song. So I was thinking very, very hard.
Oh, really? Are you okay?
Don't hurt yourself.
It gave me a little bit of a headache, but I had bread.
You want to keep your blood sugar up.
Yes.
That's really important.
But I was thinking, if there's tungsten strings and music and the diamonds reacting, maybe someone's trying to undo that.
To harm all the people on the Citadel?
Or just all the people.
So, Kiana, you have clearly a lovely voice, and a lot of knowledge and experience. What do you have specific areas of expertise or things that you think you're really good at, or things that you like to do?
Like regular things or like
regular things, or
fancy
if you'd like
things?
to, if you want to come adventuring with us, we're all kind of good at different things.
I'm good with the land, things of the earth and the sky and the water, and I'm good at hearing and kind of understanding what people think and getting in their heads and I like to kind of communicate with folks, but just from a distance. Turns out when I'm up close, sometimes, at least in God's breath, people taken aback, but just a little bit of getting inside the head, not in a bad way. Usually, sometimes, most of the time.
So
Fantastic.
are you kind of a psionic type, or
Yeah,
we will?
a little bit.
Is that must be common? Is that common in God's breath? Because we had another friend who was from God's breath, and he also was all about the being able to be in people's thoughts and things.
I didn't know if it was, I should ask. I don't know. This is all a little bit new to me. I didn't really have all this before the
Oh.
whole thing that just happened before the encounter and the hands and the monster and the things. So I don't really know a lot. But I could suddenly had a ability to hear some things that people are thinking about me, which is great. And
Oh boy.
one of the reasons I decided to.
How do you feel about that? Is that okay, or are you?
I mean, you do what you do and you reap what you sow, so can't be mad about it. But sometimes it's good to know where, go somewhere where people don't really know all the stuff you've been up to.
Well,
I
you're
understand that.
more than welcome to come along with us if you'd like to come
Sure.
to Sunset Lawn.
I'd love to, and I'll do my best to help however I can.
Fantastic.
We're going to warn you though. And Cricket's going to. How tall is Kiana? Tall or
Short, 5'2".
She's short?
Oh no.
5'2". Cricket's actually like 5.
We're basically
6.
the same height.
Oh really?
Kiana and I are,
yeah.
we're serious tiny.
Everybody's
very
very small, and then there's Justina.
So like Cricket's feeling really tall because she's 5'7". So she's gonna walk up to Kiana and say, "You're very welcome to join this, whatever we're about to embark upon. But I wanted to warn you, you could face many more dangers, things you've never seen or experienced before, things that may haunt your dreams for longer than you ever imagined. Just so you know."
Already there.
Our recruitment pitch is not very good. I'm sorry.
I don't know that you're going to see anything that's scarier than what you've seen already.
But you get really good tea. Wisteria gets
that's true.
really good tea.
You're also welcome to come to book club once we're back. It's once a week.
Someone
We have
got an
snacks,
invite to
we
What
have
are
tea.
y'all reading?
Oh.
I don't know
Well-
what's next on the list. I'll have to find out and get back to you.
Oh, what was next on the list? Oh, you don't know?
I have to
Wisteria?
check.
Roll a D100.
Okay.
Ustina is off to the side just muttering, you already got an invite to book club.
Oh.
Okay.
Everyone has an open invitation to book
I
club. We've
can
talked about this like
Yeah.
15
I
times.
know.
Oh, I know. She absolutely knows.
51.
Oh no. Oh no.
I know.
The next book that you have on your list, whether it's the one that you're actually going to read or not, is Trees, Flowers, and the Sky. And it is apparently a book of poetry.
Justina, that's perfect for you. Trees, flowers, and the sky, right? Maybe.
I'm not
Justina's just giving her that look like, what are you talking about?
Well, no, Ustina is actually giving Cricket a look because knowing that Cricket knows Ustina, Ustina is a little bit like, why
What?
are you asking me if I like trees? I don't know. if that's a good thing or not. But yes, I can do poetry. I've read poetry before. I'm very good at. We should read poetry together.
As
Yeah,
you're
we could do
that's
that.
basically what we do at book club.
as you're talking about reading poetry, because you're standing at essentially the docks for the Concord Jewels, you do hear the person that is operating the one that's going to Sunset Lawn start to call out that embarking is about to end and they're about to leave.
Ooh, better hurry
We
up.
should go.
Okay, we embark.
You embark and you all step onto another one of these massive building-sized jewels. Now, several of you have now had a couple of experiences with traveling in this way, but it's the first time that you've traveled from the Radiant Citadel after the events of last night. And I need Wisteria and Ustina to give me a perception check as this jewel slowly moves away and you all get a very gorgeous view of the Radiant Citadel in its glory.
That was almost 8.
15.
Ustina, it's gorgeous.
So bad at this.
It always is kind of a gorgeous sight.
She's pointing things out to Kiana. She's like, look. She's like right next to her, pointing things out the window.
Wisteria, you notice how gorgeous everything looks, but thinking a little bit about what happened last night or yesterday with everything that happened at the show, you glance over to the left where the roiling storm of the keening gloom is. And yeah, you could swear it's closer than it was a couple days ago. And as that thought settles into the back of your mind, you all feel the whoop as the jewel that you're on plane shifts. And for some of you, you see a familiar sight, which is the jewel descending now over the grand city of Sansatlan. The city is massive, broken up into sections by a magic rail system that you can see flicking back and forth with incredible speed. There's whole towns worth of buildings that seem to be neighborhoods that butt right up against industrial areas, and then more neighborhoods. And it's this gorgeous but very mixture of different places, these modest homes and then suddenly grand villas and then a giant factory belching smoke. And the jewel descends to one of the ports for you all to get out. And Wisteria and Ustina, you remember that Paracho Strings you remember where Paracho Strings is, which is not far. And as you lead everybody through Sansatlan, the festival that had been starting up yesterday, that you had all seen some of the preparations for, seems to be in pretty full swing now. There's an actual parade happening kind of a few blocks away that you can see people in gorgeously brightly colored dresses and suits. Many of them are wearing masks and holding signs. You do see some of the Olvidado, the undead who live here, who are normal in this area, and many of them have joined in the parade. There are the street lamps are not just lit magically, but some of them have even, for however they do it, changed color, that are casting a rainbow array of lights as there's just streamers and banners and joyful music. Kiana, in a way, it's gorgeous, but it kind of does. Well, actually, let me ask you, because you missed out on the Awakening Festival because of what was happening, and some of this reminds you of that. Does it remind you of that in a good way or in a little bit of a heartbroken way?
What I'm wondering is, I see there's these skeletons, or they're not living and they're not dead, and I just want to know. I want to know more about that. Like, is that something in the water here, or like, could I, like, if we brought somebody here who was dead, like, would they party? Would they come back, and like, and would you be able to party with them, or no, they got to die here, or because there's some people I'd love to have a better last memory of. Maybe we could party together instead of other things.
Go ahead and roll me a history check. And before you give me the number, tell me, do you think Kiana has ever been to Sansatlan, or is this her first time?
It's her first time.
All right, give me that history check.
10.
With a 10, a lot of these questions are exciting and new, and you'll probably have to get some clarification from the people around. But you do know the basics of this festival, at least, because this is such a huge event in Sansatlan, and a lot of the civilizations that are connected to the Radiant Citadel, there's enough trade back and forth that you hear about these major festivals. And the Night of the Remembered is very specifically a celebration that kind of molded out of what used to be funerary rites, because the magic of this city, sometimes people who have been deceased are able to come back on this night and talk to the people that they love. And so this has become a huge celebration. There's food and drink and offerings up to loved ones to try to entice them to come back for the night, and speak to the people who are still alive. You don't know any of the specifics or much more than that, so you probably have to ask around.
Keep it in mind.
Excellent. So as you continue through Sansatlan, and eventually you make it to the district that you, it's mostly residential. It's the houses with the red thatched roofs, and you kind of skirt around to where there's some more buildings that have obviously been turned into businesses, places of business. And some of you recognize Paracho Strings, which is a small adobe white building with the red tiled roof. The front of it is covered in essentially the top halves of a bunch of different instruments, all painted in bright colors, the tops of guitars, violins, lutes, all sorts of instruments. And there's a really simple wooden sign hanging on a post in elegant text that reads Paracho Strings. You can all see that the door to this establishment is open. And Wisteria and Ustina, you know that that's a bit odd, because the last time you were here, Marissa Huepe, who is the owner of this place, explained that she keeps her building, her business very, very warm and dry in order to help with the instruments that she's making. And so the door being left open seems a little odd.
Can Ustina kind of walk slightly more cautiously once I realize the door is open? I would look at Wisteria like, this is not what it's supposed to be. And I'd kind of like to look at the doorway and maybe just inside to see if there's anything I can see that's really striking me as not good.
Okay. How far away would you like to stay from the door? You're kind of still staying far back and just doing a neck crink?
I'd say maybe about 10 feet back, just like,
all right, give me a perception check.
Alrighty, perception. Are you serious? 10.
I'm always serious.
I'm not.
What'd you get?
10.
With a 10, you angle your head on over, and you're not just looking into the interior, but you're kind of listening. You can smell that whatever it is that Marissa uses to keep it so dry in her building, the wood that she must be burning has a little bit of a fragrance to it, and you can tell there's enough of a breeze coming out that the fact that you smell that this door must have been open for a little while at least. As you look in, you don't see anything that immediately strikes you as bad, wrong. You don't see Marissa. In fact, you only see one other figure, what looks like maybe a gnomish woman in a brightly colored shawl and hat. You can't see her front. You can just see her from the back as she's standing in the space where the countertop that Marissa kind of delineates between where the customers are and where her workshop is. She's at the place in the countertop where it's open so that people can walk back and forth. And you hear soft talking, soft enough that you can't make out the words, but you get the sense it's just far away and maybe you just need to get a little closer.
I would kind of gesture, especially to Cricket, since Cricket and I have worked together for quite a long time, and I know that Cricket might have a very good sense of hearing. Mm-hmm. So I will kind of gesture with my chin to the other side of the door, and I will get a little closer to the door. I don't want to go in. I don't want to make myself super obtrusive, Just kind of want to see what's going on before we let other people come up and possibly get hurt.
Something doesn't look right here. No.
And she'll just tap her ear, she'll tap her ear to let you know to listen really close.
Okay.
Would you like to get on?
Can I sort of lean in? But before she does, she's gonna just hold her hand to her right over her chest, sort of, and right then she's praying to one of her gods to give her guidance to hear better. That's all.
Absolutely. Yeah, you kind of come up a little closer to the doorway, and instead of trying to look around, you just concentrate on what you can hear and give me a perception check.
Okay, and with guidance, I can roll a d4 now. Okay. Oh, didn't even need it. Well, 20.
Dirty 20 or natural 20?
Yeah, dirty 20.
Awesome. And as you do this, let me just ask Wisteria and Kiana, what are you doing in this moment as it's obvious that Cricket is taking a listen? And Wisteria is just being incredibly quiet, just making sure that Cricket can hear really, really well.
Yes, I am. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that it was very quiet. I want to, if I see Cricket listening, I'm going to, sit back and let Cricket listen. I'll also listen and see if I can hear anything as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you want to, do you want to listen, or do you want to actively try to be quiet and unobtrusive to help Cricket? Basically, you want to roll your own perception check, or you want to give Cricket advantage?
I'm deciding.
While you think about that, Kiana, what are you doing in this moment?
These folks are, they're experienced, and I'm just going to hang back and see what they do. And, because I don't want to get in the way. And so I'm just going to be as far back as possible while still seeing what's going on.
All right. Wisteria, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna listen on my own. Okay. Because you already have advantage, right, Cricket, on perception?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But I rolled a 20 anyway, plus a d4 that I didn't have to roll because I rolled a dirty 20. So whatever the d4 would have been, it would have been over 20.
Well, you know what? Wisteria, give me your own perception check. Let's see if the two of you together can ear to the wood, hear what's going on.
12.
Okay. Wisteria, what you don't hear words. You're not able to really make out any words, but you can tell at least two different voices are talking, and there's a concerned tone in one voice, and you do recognize the other voice as Marissa Huepe, but you can't quite make out the words. Cricket, what you hear is Marissa, and she sounds tired. She sounds exhausted. And you hear her say, I don't know why. I was fine yesterday. And you hear the second voice answer, well, I should not be surprised that the curse has come this far. Here, take this. You need to keep warm until we can figure out what's going on. I was hoping to get your help, but it seems I am here to help you. And then you hear some shuffling.
Do I recognize the second voice? Well, I mean, I really don't recognize either voice because I don't know Marissa, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Cricket.
So, yeah,
Cricket.
you
So
do
she
not
has a woman's
recognize
voice.
either of them.
Yeah, she has second voice. And so the other three just see all of a sudden Cricket's eyes are like saucers. And she turns to them and relays back what she heard, low voice, exactly what, like, wrote what she heard through the door. The curse is here.
What curse?
I like the sound of that.
I definitely don't know, but they're talking about it behind the door. Maybe they don't want visitors, but I think that they need to know that we are here to help them.
Okay.
Should I knock?
When you turn around, Ustina is walking through the door.
Oh, Ustina. She sort of fills Ustina in on what's behind the door. I'm assuming it is your woman, Marissa.
Yeah, that's why she felt comfortable to walk through, because she knew that, nobody was being actively attacked, because you would know that.
They're not in danger. They just don't know we are here.
All right. So, Wisteria, I guess maybe, we've met her before. Let's go see what's going on. And Kiana, maybe do that thing you said you do?
Cast enfeeblement on everyone in the room?
More listen to what they're thinking.
Oh, yes, I did. I mean, I was able to hear that they did not know that the curse would reach them so soon or would come this far, and it has.
But Kiana might be able to hear what they're thinking in their heads.
Oh, that's right.
We
forgot we have a psionic in our midst.
I find people sometimes don't look kindly on it when you listen to their thoughts and you haven't even gotten their name yet. So maybe we should just say hello and then see if that makes yeah, because you don't make a lot of friends that way. I've learned.
Ustina opens her mouth like she's going to respond about making friends, and then just goes no, and turns and kind of walks through the door. Marissa,
knock. Hello?
Yes, a knock. She turns around and knocks after she walks through.
You turn and knock as Wisteria is also knocking. As you enter, you get a clearer picture of everyone in the room. You do see there are three figures. You do see Marissa, who is seated behind her counter, now wrapped in this gorgeous bright pink shawl, and is holding it close around her shoulders and around her arms. She is visibly shivering, and for those of you who saw her yesterday, she seems suddenly very ill. Like, she seemed absolutely fine yesterday, but today something is very wrong. Next to her is this gnomish woman who you can tell she must be of an advanced age, because gnomes lived for a very long time. And as she turns to you, you can see kind of the rugged age on her face. The hat that she is wearing is kind of shielding her expression a little bit, but you can see as she turns, it was one of concern as she looks at you. And there's a third figure nearby, a dwarf in what looks like rugged farming gear. Kiana, you would actually recognize, it's not your style, but you recognize someone who, they work the land. This is what they do. And they look like they're just standing back, kind of observing, but now looking at you cautiously. And as you turn around, you hear Marissa in her chair say, "Oh, you're back. I'm sorry. I should have closed. I should have closed the door. Paloma, this is the two of these people came by yesterday, bought some recorders. They're from the Citadel, and I'm sorry."
You'll be happy to know that there are now one of those recorder, or two of those recorders, I suppose, are now touring with the People's Players.
Oh, that's
and Master Stones should be coming
wonderful.
Are you all right?
Right.
And at that point, the gnomish woman Paloma has put a hand on Marissa's shoulder and said, "Save your strength, save your strength." Unfortunately, no, she is not. There is. And you watch as she kind of looks around cautiously and then back at you and says, "You're visitors from the Radiant Citadel."
Correct.
Yes.
And God's breath as well.
Interesting. You are well traveled. Is there a reason specifically you're here?
Oh, yes.
The strings.
And Paloma senses the tension and looks back at Marissa, who kind of nods in confirmation, hearing the strings that you say. Let us have a chat, but first, Estella, would you please? And you watch as the dwarf that she's motioning to gets up and quickly closes the door. And Paloma steps forward and says, "I'm sorry for the rude welcome. We are trying to be cautious here, both because of a variety of circumstances. My name is Paloma. I am a friend of Marissa's. I came here specifically to get her help with a situation that we're having outside of the city. And unfortunately, it seems as though that situation has arrived before us. Are any of you at all familiar with what's going on with this curse in Sansadlan? Have you heard anything?"
Have we heard anything?
I'll let Cricket, Ustina, and Wisteria give me a history check with disadvantage. Because off the top of your head, you don't remember anything.
A disadvantage. Okay. Oh, 17.
I'm gonna throw a bardic inspiration onto that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Which
11.
will allow me to.
Yay. 19.
Was it?
Oh,
I get to roll this twice and see what I like better.
Pulling out all the rolls.
yeah. 17 plus.
So 6.
Okay.
So no, actually it was a natural one. I'm so concerned here
Mhm.
about Paloma's mention of this curse, and also Marissa just does not look well. And I'm trying to run through in my head of different possible things that might be able to help her, different herbs and flowers and teas and tinctures and was I supposed to be trying to remember how to do something?
Yeah,
Okay.
and Ustina and Kiana, nothing sounds familiar about this.
Mhm.
Cricket, you don't remember hearing anything about a curse.
No.
The only recent news that's come out of Sansadlan, you you kind of remember actually hearing from Vint as you had traveled together for a little while, and he had maybe it was just some of the polite conversation, maybe it was something that had slipped out, but you remember hearing that the political situation in Sunset Lawn is kind of tense, kind of awkward. You don't know any of the details, but there's a lot going on. And you haven't heard anything about a curse, though, but it puts you a little on edge that there would be these other issues at the same time. And reading your expression, Paloma continues and says, I am not surprised that it hasn't made its way there just yet. There are forces at work to try to keep this from propagating out. And that's why I've been so desperate to look for help. There are people who don't believe what's going on, and there are those who I believe might be actively helping it happen.
Helping. Cricket's going to step forward like right then and say, I'm sorry, I do not know any of you. I am part of this little coterie, so to speak. My name is Cricket. And she's going to put her hand out and then sort of draw it back because she's like, I think I've had enough of hands for a long time. When you say that, oh, do you mind first? And she's going to turn to, you are Marissa in the pink scarf.
Yes. Hi. Did you want a recorder as well?
Well, now that you bring it up, I would love a recorder. Do you have any that are yellow or bright, something like that color would go with my sort of color scheme? And she gestures to her, British dandy outfit.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Gold,
I've got, and you watch as she's about to get out of her chair, and Paloma once again puts a firm hand on her shoulder and says, my dear, save your strength. We can talk about recorders later.
Yeah, don't get up. We can definitely talk about those beautiful instruments you have out front. But do you mind? And Cricket's going to lean forward and just sort of put her hands right here and she's going to cast Detect Poison and Disease level 1.
Okay. Read off that spell for me so I make sure I give you the right information.
Hold on. Okay. For the duration, you can sense the presence and location of poisonous creatures, and diseases within 30 feet of you. You can also identify the kind of poisonous creature, or disease. In each case, the spell can penetrate most barriers, but it's blocked by stone, metal, lead, wood, or dirt.
Well, she is not being blocked by any of those things.
Okay.
So as you come forward to examine her, also give me a medicine check with that, since this is kind of what you do.
This is what I do, and I have advantage, people. Should I say a short prayer to Bibishi before I do this? I think I will. And she's going to then bow her head, say a prayer to Bibishi. Let's see. Needed it, a 5. Next. Oh. 20, dirty 20.
It's the night of dirty 20. You get a couple of things, both from your expertise as a healer and also from casting this spell. Marissa is poisoned, but the poisoning is not the direct cause. The poisoning is a symptom of something else that is going on. You don't detect any disease, but you can, from your medicine check, you're kind of listening to her heart, looking in her eyes, checking her pulse, checking her breathing. She's exhausted. And there's something causing this, but you don't think it's medical. You can't quite pinpoint what is going on. She is poisoned, she's exhausted, and she's shaking like she's freezing. In fact, when you do touch her skin to check her pulse, she is cold, surprisingly cold. And she almost involuntarily leans into your warm hands. And it's hard to tell exactly what is going on, but yeah, it's whatever this isn't a disease that you're familiar with.
Cricket's gonna turn and look right at Wisteria and sort of this imperceptible like head shake and turn back to Marissa. Whatever is afflicting you is not something that I can cure personally, but it is not good. Could you explain this curse for me and my friends some more? Paloma, she directs this question to Paloma.
And Paloma definitely takes charge at that point and says, yes, I appreciate you trying, but unfortunately, that is something that we have come across. This is some curse that has been going across Sansatlan for a few months now. It started off as a fairly small outbreak that people mistook for some kind of disease in some of the surrounding towns, and it's just grown. We have not figured out how to stop it. We do know that it is, and she looks downcast and looks over at Marissa and then looks back at you, and you can tell that what she's saying is not something that she thinks Marissa is going to be surprised by, but what she says is, those who have caught it have died. It's some insidious curse. And I thought that my companions and I had finally figured out at least something that could track down what is causing this. There's been disturbing reports of an owl flying above towns, cities, in the middle of the day. And we were investigating that owl when, and she looks over back at her dwarven friend who share a downtrodden look, and she says, several of us went to go investigate when this creature attacked. It was an owl, but then it was not. It was something I have never seen before. It's fought with a fury. It transformed into a massive owl-like beast, but fiendish. It must have been. It hurt many of my friends, and it managed to escape, and it flew here towards the city. We did what we could. Those that were attacked have soon died of Sereno, this curse that seems to be affecting people. That's what we've been calling it. And we haven't figured out yet all of the reasons some people are affected or not. But we think this fiend, it has to be the cause. When it attacked my companions, those who survive very quickly fell to that curse. We've been able to track down, it seems to be flying in and out of a town nearby. There's an abandoned mining town named Hollow. It's about 4 miles north of this city. And I was hoping to come here and talk to my friends, those who still consider me a friend, see if I could find anyone who was willing to go to Hollow and either confirm or track down that this beast, this fiend, is coming from there. But like I said, it seems that even here the curse has been spread.
Oh, well, we could try and do that for you.
Would you? Are you willing to go? This is an incredibly dangerous creature, even if it is not the direct cause. I am looking for people to go to what we are sure is a place that a fiend is living. But if you are willing, I wouldn't just be grateful. We can offer some payment. And you watch as she reaches into a pocket along her dress and pulls out a bag and says, I do have money to pay. And then she looks down at her hand and pulls off one of the rings on her hand and holds it out to you and says, and I have this. It's been in the family for a while. It's got some power that may be able to help you. I fear if you are going to go after this fiend, you will need all of the power that you can find. And she holds out what she'll describe to you as a artifact that she's had handed down, but for the purposes of making life easy, it's a ring of jumping.
Oh.
Ring.
How quickly do you think you could go?
I know I'm new to the group here, but you said something about people no longer considering you a friend. Do you got some enemies out there that might be behind this or mess with some owls in your day or something?
If only it was so easy as just the curse of an owl. But you are correct. I do have enemies. There's been an ongoing tension between many of the people who live outside of this city and the people who have taken over ruling it. Those that are in charge of Sansatlan are convinced that this is nothing, that it is a disease that will eventually go away. But they refuse to see the facts that are in front of them. And every time we try to tell them about this creature, we are ignored, scoffed at. There's been some political upheaval, and
Yes.
to
I've
make a
heard of
very
this.
long story short, there's been some clashes, and I am perhaps not the most welcome face in the city. But I assure you, my only concern is for the health and well-being of these people. And right now, the political situation is something we can deal with. This fiend is not. And I am afraid if it is not dealt with soon, both will just descend into chaos. I am afraid, though, that there are those who are in positions of power may, if they don't actively try to stop you, they may just ignore you. So do not expect any help from anyone who is in charge of Sansatlan.
Probably better to have discretion as well, just in case they try to stop us. And we are used to not having much help, to be honest with you. We appreciate the ring, but know that we will give it back after we are done. We don't require any payment from you, at least. I guess we can leave now. What do you think, Wisteria, Wistina? And she turns to Kiana. Kiana, I have one question regarding this owl creature. It's an owl or an owlin humanoid. Do you know the difference?
It is both. The reports have been of an owl that flies over during the day, which is already an ill omen. And then the creature that attacked us a few days ago, when we were tracking that owl, became... And you watch as Paloma turns to the dwarf that she's with, Estella, and Estella picks up the narrative, basically. She stands up and says, we were riding by Hollow after dark, trying to get home, watching these owls. And it dropped out of the sky, and it was suddenly a beast, as if a humanoid in a decrepit owl form. And when we managed to track it to the mines at Hollow, there were other things there that I saw. Gaunt figures dragging people into the mine. If you are brave enough to go, be very, very careful. I do not know how much of that town has been taken over by whatever is going on. It's been empty for a very long time. The only people that should be there are scavengers. The silver ran dry years ago. That's why they call it Hollow.
Hollow. I have one last question regarding this being prepared for whatever we're about to face in the Hollow. This creature, do you have to interact with it for it to curse you or not?
And Paloma speaks up again. No, that's been the hard part. It does seem to, the Sereno seems to affect people after the owl has been nearby. But people have not had any direct contact with this creature to be affected. Marissa, I am assuming you did not let an owl into your very fine shop. And Marissa nods and says, no, I've been here preparing for the Night of the Remembered most of the last couple of days. I think I would notice if an owl came on inside.
Ustina, by the way, has wandered over in front of Marissa, who obviously looks very cold.
Mm-hmm.
And Ustina is just going to let the ambience work for itself and take Marissa's hands in her hands and just hold them and let herself warm Marissa. She runs hot.
And as you take her hands, kind of the same way when Cricket had been examining her and she almost involuntarily leaned into that warmth, when you offer your warmth, she is obviously grateful. A little of a moment of surprise, as yes, you're not just a warmer person than she is, you are actually running hot. But she smiles and nods a thank you to you.
You're the only other person that knew that song. I'd like to keep you around.
I would very much like to hear you play again. But maybe afterwards, after this is taken care of.
Oh, I'm gonna go kill a thing.
That's what Lucina does best. Don't worry.
We're gonna go kill a thing. We're very good at what we do.
Paloma grins.
Or at least find out what's happening and politely ask it to leave.
We're gonna kill a thing.
I don't know about killing, but
and that's okay if we don't know exactly what is going on with this creature. If there is a misunderstanding, if this is not intentional, if there is any other way, all I care about is saving the lives of these people. I am afraid of that this is a fiend that cannot be reasoned with. But if I am wrong, I am more than happy for there to be no bloodshed at all. So I leave it up to your judgment to act in whatever way makes the most sense to save as many as possible.
Sounds okay. And she's telling us like everything she knows. She's not holding back. We're not about to like walk into like the den of the dragon knowing nothing. This freaks me out.
Go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, this is what I'm good at. And
cleric wisdom.
Yeah, she's looking at Paloma as she's talking, and it looks almost like she's reading her lips, but like really what she can do is she can envision the words coming out of her mouth, and she can tell if she's a 21.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's very obvious that Paloma is not lying. It seems to be invigorated by the idea that there are people here who want to help, that you've offered your assistance even before she offered a reward. Nothing about this creature or the situation. You don't get the sense that she's holding anything back as far as she knows. You do pick up from a little bit earlier when Kiana had asked about the political situation. She was being simplistic. And you thinking back on the way she talked about it and the words that she was using, and knowing what you know, knowing what you remember from what Vint was saying, there's probably some complicated political things going on here. But because Paloma really is so focused on the immediate threat, she was doing her best to gloss over what she thinks is something else going on. So you don't get the sense that she avoided telling you things that she didn't avoid telling you anything that wasn't important. She was avoiding telling you things that are messy, that are not, in her mind, necessary.
That makes sense. Well, but do you think Marissa will be okay for a little while until we can check things out? Can we give her something too? And she sort of glances over at Wisteria. Is there anything that you might have herb-wise, tea-wise, maybe?
I do have an herbalism kit. Is there something in there maybe that I could whip up to help?
Feel better from...
Is there anything in there that you think would help with a magical curse? You think you could offer some comfort of a really good cup of tea, but
that certainly I can do.
Then absolutely.
My tea set and start.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you
put some holy water. Could we put some holy water in the tea?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Never
It's
hurts.
certainly worth a try.
And Paloma says that would be lovely. The only other thing we've found that staves off things getting worse is, Marissa, you feel like taking a very short walk? And Marissa nods and stands up, and Wisteria, as you and Kiana are making some tea, the rest of you kind of follow outside as Paloma picks up the chair and brings her friend out basically to the porch just outside the door, where the mid-morning sun is pouring in. You can hear the sounds of the festival near and far in the city, but she very intentionally puts the chair in direct sunlight. And as Marissa sits down, she's still obviously afflicted, but it's as if the sunlight helps ease a little bit of that the shivering, the exhaustion, and she relaxes a little bit. And Paloma says, the sunlight helps, and any of the people that we know that have been able to survive as long as they have spent as much time in the sun as possible, but there are only so many hours in a day.
We will get to the bottom of this, right? Right? Okay.
Wisteria, what kind of tea are you making?
I think I'm going to make I know there's going to be cinnamon, so maybe a chai with some extra cinnamon, just for that extra little kick of warmth.
Yeah. And Kiana, when you pull out your holy water, do you have like little vials of it? Do you have a larger container? What is your holy water being held in?
I have 2 containers of holy water. So one that the proclaimers say is blessed by Antare, one of the god's breath, and one by Shesu. So sometimes I use them separately, sometimes together, but they're identical, because you don't want to make one god think that you got the other god liking more, because then it never goes well. So I got 2.
And out of which of them do you pour into the tea, or do you try to pour a little bit of both?
Well, Shesu is more about perseverance and getting through suffering, so I'm gonna use a little bit of Shesu holy water.
Perfect. And as you and Wisteria offer this cup of tea to Marissa, she takes it gratefully. The sunlight has helped with the shaking, so she's able to hold the teacup without it rattling, without the shaking that would make it difficult. And she sips, and for the first time since walking in, she looks relaxed. She's still very obviously ill, but she is definitely having reprieve from the worst of the symptoms. Is there anything else that you can think to ask? I'm more than happy to. I should at least show you where it is. And Paloma pulls out a map. And
that could help.
She pulls out a map of the general Sansadlan area.
Mhm.
She shows you where the city is, where you are right now. You're very close to the Alvarez district, very close to where that factory that you had been to earlier was, which is on the northern edge of the city. And she says that Hollow is 4 miles north of Sansatlan. And she shows you on the map where there unfortunately isn't a railway leading there. So you will have to just walk, but it's not too far from here. And she points to a place on her map that doesn't actually have a marking on it. It's blank, but she points to it and says, it is small and it has been disused for a very long time. So my map does not show it very well, but if you follow the road north, it will be unmistakable. There are signs. It is very obvious from the road. When it was an active silver mine, it was very profitable from what I remember, but it has been dry for many, many years.
And we are sure it's been dry for many years.
Well, as far as I and anybody else know,
Okay.
there have not been any mining operations there for a very long time.
Is there anyone who might have a map of the mine
Good question.
from back in the day?
Of the mine. Hold on a second, and I am going to roll something.
Oh no, Lauren's rolling.
Oh no, the DM is rolling. Rocks fall, everybody dies.
Oh well, level 1 characters.
I don't know of anyone offhand who has an actual map of the mine.
Okay.
I do remember I remember hearing it was several levels deep, but it is not very wide, which is how they knew it had dried out. The vein they found went deep, but not into the mountainside. So hopefully what you find, or when you go, it will not be too hard to make your way through the mine. But I unfortunately don't know anyone who has worked there specifically who could give you a map.
Is there any sort of permitting office or central registry?
Probably, and she looks down the street where a couple blocks away, the festivities are going on, because this neighborhood, while it is obviously enjoying the Night of the Remembered, it's not actually happening directly here. You're many blocks away from kind of a central square and where the parade is going on. And Paloma kind of glances at the joyous revelry and looks back at you and says, I am afraid that with everything going on and with my fears about those in charge covering up what is going on, that any attempt to go through official means might take a very, very long time.
Can we find somebody who died but is back from the Night of the Remembered, who worked at the mine, and
That's
ask
a
them
really
to
good
sketch a map
idea.
for us? You know, maybe they remember it even in the afterlife.
Paloma seems impressed with this line of reasoning and says, well, if there is any day to find someone that will be able to help you, it is today. I don't know of any of the Olvidado who would have worked at the mine, but the parade is just over there. Maybe along the way you can find somebody. It's always worth an ask.
I will not be asking anyone who is caught between life or death. However, I'm willing to go along with this line of thinking.
Well,
the dead know many things.
they do. And if I can at least offer some assurances, I can see the kind of healing that you offer. I understand that not everywhere are those who are undead are welcomed, but the Olvidados here, they are just other people. No one exactly knows why, when they died, that they came back and have not passed on. They don't remember an afterlife, but they remember who they are. And while they're uncommon, they are numerous enough to not be seen as strange. But they are just other people, and if any of them can help you, I'm sure that they would. While I don't know if they can suffer from Sereno, but because it is a curse, I would not be surprised.
You said Sereno. You said Sereno is what they call the curse?
Yes. And
Very
yeah,
well.
if you look down the way, you can see the parade is still going by. And Kiani, give me a perception check.
Ready? Here we go. 18.
Excellent. You glance on down where this parade is going by, and for a moment, it's a little hard to tell any of the Olvidados from everybody else, because a lot of the people that are enjoying the festivities are dressed as skeletons, as spirits, as mischievous devils even, although there's a humor to the devils that make them a little less on the terrifying side, especially after you've been talking about hunting down a fiend. But after a moment or two of kind of watching people pass, and yeah, you can see there's actually a couple of Olvidados in this parade. It seems like whether these undead have decided that this is an amazing time to join in, or you're just having an easier time picking them out, you can see that these skeletons are, because of what they are, they don't have to dress in the same way that those who are not undead. And so it's a little easier to see through a rib cage or through a leg. And yeah, you see that there are several who are enjoying the festivities.
I think we should go talk to one.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Cricket's sort of gingerly following behind everyone with this look of disconcern on her face, because she generally wants to just start either sparing the dying or gentle reposing everyone. So she's sort of, okay, this is what we do. This is what I'm doing. And she's following behind Kiana and Wisteria.
Ustina disappears into the crowd for a second, and then comes back and sees how Cricket and just shoves a cinnamon bread in her mouth. Think about that. It's better.
Definitely better.
In Cricket, something to keep in mind maybe is when you've met one person, you've met one person. And there's lots of people here, and this is cool. I think this is fantastic.
Can we
They've got to have all sorts of knowledge and wisdom and experience.
She's gonna
even when all the roses seem to be gone, there's still usually a spark of life that if you care about it, it'll grow again. So maybe it's something like that.
I do.
Ustina looks like she's nodding sagely and keeping up with this conversation and says, people can't help how they're made, and takes a whole bite of bread.
Mm,
Kiana, did you have a question?
okay.
I'm just trying to figure out if one of them, because I can see a couple, but I'm wondering if like one of them looks like more miney, like do they do they have like, are they carrying, I don't know what happens. Are they still carrying like implements? Is there any way I can tell which of these might be a good friendly olvidado to approach?
None of them are carrying, none of them are obviously minors, but you suspect, because of the way that most of the people who are enjoying the Night of the Remembered are dressed, they are dressed like everybody else in colorful outfits, in there's, while other people might have painted faces, they've got painted skeletons. And so you think that this is, people don't usually show up to the Night of the Remembered in their work outfits. With that perception check from before, you see not all of the ones that you've noticed are active in the parade. You actually do notice, if you cross the parade to the other side, there's plenty of people who are standing, enjoying the parade, cheering, screaming, yelling. Kids are running by, and there is an olvidado just on the other side of the parade route, obviously standing there. They're waving every once in a while to the parade that is going by. You see that as some of the floats that go by, they're throwing candy, and they catch some of the candy and then kind of hand it out with, there's no expression of, like, there's no grin on the face, but there's a obvious enjoyment in giving it to somebody nearby. So while you can't necessarily tell if any of these people were minors when they were alive, you can at least figure this person is not busy in the parade.
You should talk to that person. They seem like they've got time.
All
We've
right.
got plenty of time.
Do you want to talk to them, or would you like one of us to?
I mean,
It was your idea.
I guess like, hello there, skeleton person. I'm Kiana. I'm not a skeleton, but how are you enjoying the festivities?
You all walk on over, kind of weave your way through the parade route, and come up to this olvidado who, as you call out to it, they turn and look at you and give you kind of a cordial wave, and they speak to you, and it sounds just like a normal human calling out to you. You actually hear laughter. Your first time in San Sutlan, I see. Not met one
our
of my...
second.
Second, obviously. First time that you've seen someone like me?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Yeah.
Honesty is always good. I could see it on your faces, though. My name is Fortuno. It is very nice to meet you. Were you looking to join and watch the parade? It's absolutely fantastic this year.
I really wish we could, because I love a festival, and where I'm from, we have a great festival, but we're on a what do you say? How do y'all say it when you do these things? We're on a thing, and we're trying to find a map of a tiny town, and we thought maybe you knew somebody from there called Hollow.
Oh yeah, we're visiting this town, and we want to visit some of the old historical sites and things to see. That's why we've heard it was a maybe possible place to visit for fun.
How long have you lived here?
Fortuno is listening to Kiana and kind of nodding, and then when Cricket says this, you watch a head cock, like they're a little confused, and then they look over at Wisteria and they say, I've been here for 5 years, 6 years. Oh, does the time fly? But that was, of course, now, as I am now. I lived a fairly good life before that as well. Hollow, you say? Are you
Oh,
sure someone isn't pulling your leg and sending you out of town just to see some dusty old mine? All of the excitement is here for the night of the remembered. I would be very suspicious of anybody who sent you on your way before tonight.
Well, that's why we were, we specifically want to visit, the out of the way places that nobody would ever want to see. We like to visit historical sites. That's what we kind of do because, Cricket's going to gesture to Asteria. She is, a writer and books and stuff like that, so we're part of her team.
Cricket,
We
give me a
visit.
deception check.
Yeah, their team.
Fine. This is a bad deception. What was I doing? And it's horrific. A 4.
They look at you and like the outgoing friendliness of this Olvidado fades a little bit. Are you absolutely sure you've got the right information? That as far as I know, there has not been anything at Hollow for many, many years.
Usina's gonna look at this situation and see that some possible distraction might be in order because this is getting a little weird. And so she's been sitting there chewing thoughtfully and is going to ask what she thinks is a relevant question. It's probably not. Does time go by faster when you're dead?
No, but there is that gap. Most of us, when we come back, we don't remember where we were.
But do you remember Hollow from when you were alive?
I do not. But if you are really insistent on going to Hollow, hold on a moment. And the Olvidado turns back to some of the people that they were with and calls out to what looks like a well-dressed, like in a suit and tie, almost a tux with a top hat, very, very, very formal, a dark-skinned gentleman with just the biggest grin on their face that is painted to look like a skeleton. And this Olvidado turns and says, Holston, come here for a moment. These people were sent to Hollow to see the sights. Can you believe that? And Holston, this man who's been called on over, says, well, that doesn't make much sense. There hasn't been anything there for years. At least, not since I was there. I ran a trade route there for a while, back and forth when the mine actually had some silver. So, but I haven't had to be there for a while.
Oh. A glint.
I mean, you could certainly help us out and save us some time if you could just kind of describe the layout of the mine for us and sort of where things are in it, how many levels, things like that.
We'd hate to get caught in there, you know what I mean?
Oh, you're actually thinking about going into that mine. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. It's been abandoned for a while, but Wisteria, give me a persuasion check.
Hope you
All right.
I did.
19.
Nice. The Olvidado and this gentleman give curious looks to each other. You watch as Fortuno kind of shrugs, obviously just completely perplexed by what's going on. Holston, though, seems more the shrug, I might as well tell you, it's not going to hurt. And so he says, well, I really didn't go in much of the mine, so I know in general what it's supposed to be, but I wasn't actually doing the mining. I was just picking up stuff and doing the transportations. There's a little bit of a camp outside. There's a couple buildings. It was a pretty small place even when it was operational. There's not much to it. As far as I know, there's only the one entrance. It's got a big honking elevator. I don't know if that elevator still works. I'd be wary of that. Even if it did still work, I wouldn't take it. It was creaking even when it was still going. And it's deeper than it is wide. I do remember that. That's why they needed the elevator, because whatever vein they were going after went deep, did not go out. And I think 4 or 5 levels, something like that, half a dozen or so. But like I said, I never went in farther than the opening of the place. And as far as I know, that place is pretty abandoned. So if you get into trouble out there, there ain't going to be no one who's going to be able to save you.
No, we save us.
Well, you're going to have to if you run into any trouble.
She kind of points to the sword.
That is a mighty fine sword you got there.
We save us.
Are you really going out there to sightsee, or is there something else going on?
I just
Cricket
follow
refuses
them.
to answer because she has no deception. So refuse to answer the question. She's like-
I'm just following them. I think Ustina gestures to Kiana, and then Wisteria. I think they know, they're the tour guides.
I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I come from a place where the land's been starting to dry up and can't figure out why. So like to travel around to other places where things aren't running the way they used to be, like the way the silver doesn't run in the mine, just to see if there's something that connects it, something we can figure out I can bring back to my people.
Where are you from?
God's breath.
Oh, well, I don't know for sure if you'd rightly find anything there that is going to help, but I certainly hope you do find what you're looking for. That sounds, that mine ran out of silver. We can always go find some more in the mountains. It wasn't the biggest loss, but if it's going to help you, I hope you find what you're looking for.
I appreciate that.
We appreciate that.
And with that, the two of them kind of give you cordial nods and head back into the crowd, watching as the parade goes by.
Wow. He seemed like a very nice being.
Person.
Given.
Do you think bits of him ever fall off?
I think
Well, I
that's a
think
very
so.
personal question.
You did all see that the Olvidado are skeletons. They're not zombies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's why I'm asking if any of the little bits fall off.
Oh, you mean, okay.
Oh.
I mean, that's why I didn't ask him Wisteria. I was listening. You told me to say things like that are rude to people. So I waited until he was not here.
It's okay. Don't worry what you were
Until
saying.
they were not
Trust
here,
me, I was
actually.
thinking.
Oh, okay. Well,
Olvidado, that means forgotten. But
hmm,
they're clearly remembered here.
Yeah.
only for one night though.
I don't know. One thing that seemed really weird to me was how surprised. What was his name again? Florence?
Fortuno.
What was his name?
Fortuno.
Yeah. He seemed
And
really
Holston.
okay. They seemed really weirded out when we were going through Hollow. They did not. They seemed very, I don't know, surprised, weirded out.
I think maybe he was just surprised that, tourists were asking about a place that tourists don't go. I mean, why would we go there when there is, and Justina gestures widely to all the food stalls.
Because
just saying.
Marissa's sick and we want to make sure that she is okay.
Exactly. We do, but they might not know that. So
So we better hurry up, because what if they start talking about 4, 5, 6, 4 weird strangers journeying out to Hollow? If the word gets around, that could be bad for us.
Well, then we should go.
You should
I think we should go.
Yeah.
All right.
And
All right.
we're off.
And walking happens, travel happens as you make your way through the northern part of the city, passing by all of the festivities. This is not the only parade going on. You very quickly find out, even in the little bit that you're going through Sunset Lawn before you get to the edge of the city, that pretty much every local area, every neighborhood in town has their own festival happening. And it's all getting more and more exuberant and excited, as you do know that the Night of the Remembered, as the name suggests, is a celebration that happens mostly at night. And so this is all a precursor, a joyous precursor. And so as you exit the city, it's a little bit of a mood change, leaving the brightly colored singing, dancing, flag waving, the bright smells, the sounds of the city in active celebration.
I just thought about something.
What?
If the sunlight helps with the curse, is it maybe a bad idea to go when there's no sun?
Oh, it's late morning right now. You still got the whole day ahead of you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The omnipresent narrator says as she continues her narration, you have a moment where you get to the edge of Sunset Lawn, and Wisteria,
That's a
you
good
have
question.
Wisteria has an incredibly pertinent thought, and then you look up and go, oh, you've got plenty of hours before sunset.
Okay.
You also know it's only 4 miles. And while there is not any of the La Senda, the magic railroad, none of them lead there, the path there is very well paved and taken care of. And so it is a relatively quick walk in order to get to Hollow. You arrive just mid-afternoon, the sun's still high. It's, like I said, it's been a strange mood change from the joyous celebration of Sunset Lawn to outside of the city, where it's much more of a dry desert, very quiet, very still. There's some mountains off in the distance that you can see, and not a lot of people on the road, at least on this road. And eventually you kind of come around a corner, and you've seen a couple of signs that have talked about, Hollow coming up, road signs giving some very basic directions. And so as you come around this corner, it's not a big surprise when you see these fairly decrepit buildings, a town, a very small town, spread out along the road ahead. There's very weathered shacks and buildings and houses that are creaking in the wind as you get closer. These couple of dozen buildings are butted up against some of the hills and mountains that are close by. And you can actually see off in the distance what you probably guess is the mine. The road, while it goes through the town, you can very easily see a separate path that leads over to a darkened entranceway into the mountain. You think you may also see the remains of what looks like a track that might have been being laid. And you do notice one other thing. As much as this place is obviously long since abandoned, years and years and years, there are people here. Not just people. There's an incredibly opulent coach, very out of place amongst the dirt and the brown of the wood and the gray of the stone. This purple red velveteen coach with 4 gorgeous stallions out front is parked near a bunch of the buildings, curtains completely drawn, and you can see a couple of figures, not hiding, but moving slowly amongst the buildings. And if it wasn't for this incredibly fancy coach, you might think that there were scavengers, bandits, but no one's coming to this town in that kind of coach. And as you are walking up, one of the people that's been moving in between these buildings obviously sees you, and they start to move in your direction. And that's probably a good place for us to pause.
Can I make one note just to say that it happened before?
Sure.
Thing? I mean, she would have done it on the road. I'm not going to retcon it that far back. As soon as she sees the horses, Ustina starts ritual casting speak with animals.
All right. You will be a minute into your ritual cast. I'll say that Ustina is always listening and looking for animals.
Yep.
And you probably pegged them when you were still a good couple of minutes away. And so you're a minute into this ritual cast. I'll let you do that.
Okay.
But we're going to pause here as you all approach the town of Hollow to see if you can find out what's going on with the Fiend of Hollow Mine. Look at that.
Ooh, you said the title of the thing.
I said the title of the thing. Spoilers, everybody. Anyway, let's take a moment and give my wonderful players a chance to introduce themselves and tell people where they can find more of your awesomeness, starting in the same order that we did last time.
Okay, everyone. Hey, I'm Alicia Marie, and I'm a creative performing artist and costume creator. And my socials are at Alicia Marie Body. On Monday nights, you can catch me on the Glass Cannon Network for Voyages of the Jump, where we play a traveler campaign, for those of you who like that RPG. Tuesday nights on the Demi-Plane RPG channel, we play Children of Verite with Lauren and with Jen for that one. And on some Fridays, I host Crown Cosplay on the Crown channel on Fridays from 4 to 6 when I'm not here. Of course, other Fridays, I'm here with these lovely people. And that's all. I'll play at my socials where I have everything else coming up.
I'm Erin Roberts. I'm a writer of stories and games. I am on social media, mostly just Twitter, honestly, as Narelle, Nirele, which is L Erin backwards, because when I was younger, I was not good at Spanish. And you can generally mostly find me on the page. You can find me the pages of Journeys to the Radiant Citadel, and also recently in Pathfinder's Lost Omens Travel Guide, which was super fun, but ooh, Radiant Citadel, it's there. And Fridays for a little bit, you can catch me here. But aside from that, you can always see what I'm up to on Twitter.
Yeah.
I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as @DreamWisp. You can find me streaming on Twitch as DreamWisp Jen. Tuesdays, I am with these lovely folks, or some of these lovely folks, over on Children of Verite on the Demi-Plane channel. This Wednesday, we have our finale for Vampire the Nightlife on Play Renegade for the season. And then Fridays, I am here. Upcoming next Tuesday, please come check out the Anansi's Tapestry of Lives Kickstarter when it goes live. I'm one of the authors. Erin's one of the authors. A lot of folks who have been part of this show are authors or voice actors on the whole awesomeness that is Anansi's Tapestry of Lives. So please check that out. And then I have a charity event coming up. I'm an author. I worked on Candlekeep Mysteries, Starfinder, Haunted West, a bunch of other cool stuff. I have fun things I'm announcing at some point eventually. And I'm a disability consultant. I created the Accessibility and Gaming Resource Guide, which you can find in my pinned tweet.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm at the Opera Geek on Twitter and pretty much everywhere fine beverages are sold. This is because I'm a professional opera singer who is also a geek. It's pretty self-explanatory. Coming up, I have only one thing I always forget to add is that I do voice acting. Like I've dubbed more than one anime into English, but I just always forget to say that, and probably should add that in. But anyway, much more important than that is Wednesday, Scotty the Rescue Pup went live on Idle Champions, which I was super honored to create to benefit takethis.org. Which promotes mental health in gaming. And Scotty is based on my Scotty, my little rescue pup, and he is pretty heckin' cute. He got me into a pancake today, and I about lost my mind. I really did. I was screaming in my house. Other than this show on Monday, you can catch me playing Scotty on my final appearance on Familiar Quest, where we may or may not have created a cult last week, and I'm sure that's going to completely end perfectly well for everybody. And coming up in October, I have the next 2-part edition of Haunted West. We have gotten our own ranch. We blew up an entire fort. My horse talks back to me. Don't know what's gonna happen next.
What is it with you and talking horses?
Because Kelly in real life wants to talk to every animal she sees. It's more that the horse sasses me, like physically sasses me. But that's pretty much it for me for right now. And of course, Fridays I'm here with these lovely people.
Mental note: make horses sass Justina. Hi, I'm Lauren Urban. I've been your humble DM for this Radiant Stories. You can find me on Twitter as Obo Lauren, where I am the content coordinator over at Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. Most of my Twitter is either D&D or occasionally Obo things, because, you know, every once in a while I do what's in my name. Thank you to our amazing producers who are always behind the scenes, making sure that we can just focus on playing a game and entertaining all of you. Thank you to Anansi's Tapestry of Lives for basically helping us be here. Definitely check out when they go live on Kickstarter next week. I am excited. And thank you to everyone for joining us. And remember that wherever you are in the universe, we hope we have brought the joy of the Radiant Citadel to you. Bye.